Hi, thank you for joining the Center for Justice and the Law Spotlight Conversation series, where we talk about topics on health, justice, and law with guests. I'm Brenda, and I'm a student coordinator for the CJL at Hamline University. This is our third spotlight around the topic of immigrant and refugee health. Our conversation today will be with Brenda Saucedo. Thank you for joining us, Brenda.
Thank you for having me. My name is Brenda Saucedo. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I recently graduated this past May from the University of St. Thomas, with a degree in family studies and a double minor in women's studies and social welfare. And yeah, that's a little bit introduction about me.
So, Brenda, I have asked you to join me because of your experiences connecting to our topic. And you inspire me as you have overcome obstacles, and I always admire you about that. And I always saw you as a role model in my life, especially with how we connect with our different situations and everything. But I feel like we could relate with each other, and I always saw you as a role model in my life outside. You probably don't know that, but I always did. I was like, she's doing amazing things now, and I'm just saw you as one of my role models in high school. So one of my first questions are can you tell us about how you as an individual connect to our theme this year for immigrant and refugee health, justice and law, and what is your personal connection to our topic?
Yeah, for sure. So I was born in Mexico, Durango, Mexico, in 1999. My family and I I grew up there for the first 5 years of my life. And then in September of 2005, we immigrated here to the United States, to Minnesota. And, we kind of got here, and it was kind of just, you were thrown into the fire just of life of adapting to a whole new life, a whole new culture. And I was 5 years old. I had no idea what we were doing. The whole journey here from Mexico to the United States, I was just confused the whole time, mostly because my parents didn't tell me what we were doing. I just kind of followed my mom everywhere we went. Next thing you know, I was starting elementary school, and I got introduced to English, and I just got introduced to a whole new lifestyle that I guess I had to start adapting to. And yeah, I'm just kind of here today to talk about how being an immigrant and growing up in the United States, undocumented, what it was like, and where I am today in my life now that I'm 22 years old, and just seeing, I guess, kind of reflecting and thinking back to my life in 2005 to now, and kind of sharing a little bit of my experience and wisdom from them.
Yes. So I guess one of the questions that I asked, especially now that you told us a little bit about your story and everything, it's from referring to our last spotlight, it's what was a culture shock to you? I know you were 5 years old, but what was a culture shock to you of learning a new language or anything? What was shocking to you about coming here to the United States?
Yeah, I guess kind of just pronunciations, especially with us speaking Spanish, the way that you pronounce some things, or the way that one thing is in English is another way in Spanish. A good example is limes and lemons and all that stuff, or just different things, just adapting to, uh, for my parents, I'm going to use them as an example. They're adults, they learned English, but they have heavy accents when they speak English versus me. I've had many years to adapt. I didn't learn all this. I know Spanish. I can keep my conversations in Spanish, but there's a lot of things now that I know more in English than I know in Spanish, because my parents kind of told me well, we're here now, learn the language that we're at. They kept teaching me, I didn't forget Spanish and anything like that, but just kind of I don't know, just the way that English works, and then the way that Spanish is. And then, being in middle school and in high school and elementary school, just being at ELL, and just the ways that you're treated differently because of how you speak your language. And, I spent so much of my time growing up trying to work on my English accent, trying to Americanize my voice so that I don't sound Spanish. Just because, there's the little things in life that my parents always tell me, you have to fit in with the people, you have to blend in with the people, so that no one ever questions, if I'm from here, never having the conversation of go back to your country, because nobody ever assumes, especially a lot of the times it's the color of my skin. You can't tell with the lighting, but I'm very white passing, as people have told me before. So just kind of blending in with the crowd, but then also trying to blend in with my crowd, the Hispanic culture, just kind of um, adapting with the two.
Yes, I totally agree, especially with like how you were mentioning in like high school and middle school. I sometimes like didn't really like relate to like I know like I was born in Mexico and everything, but like I was just put in an English class. So I was just like I had to learn English, like everything. And then it's not like where I had English and Spanish. It's just my my mom and my aunt just put me like in an English class. It was like you're gonna learn English now. And I still remember I had to like try to like how you said, try to like erase that sort of accent that we had. And I was like, then I was just like, why do we have to do this just so we can like blend in and everything? Um, so one of the other questions, like I don't know if I could like bring this up, but I am under DACA and I'm pretty sure you're under DACA as well. And I kind of sort of want to bring this into light because I feel like nobody really knows. Like a lot of people are like under DACA or don't know what DACA is. So like DACA is like just so like on Facebook and everything, it's Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals, and it just gives us like a 2 year sort of protection so we don't get like deported, but it also gives us other things. But for sorry for changing the conversation with DACA. It's just um but if you have DACA, which you're pretty sure you do, right? Um what is like how did that status and how did your life change once you obtain that status?
Yeah. So I got DACA. When was it? I know my brother got it first before me because when DACA first came out, it was 2014 or 2012, right? The DACA came out.
Yeah.
I think I still wasn't at the age limit where you had to like, because you know all the qualifications that you have to meet in order to apply for DACA. I think I was still. I'm gonna go off of 2012 because I'm blanking right now. I wasn't old enough to do it, and so I was watching my brother do the process. So thankfully, I kind of had somebody already with it. So when it was my time to do it, I kind of like knew what to do. But the moment that I got DACA, when it was brand new too in the ways, when I applied for it, it actually I got lucky. It were instead of being 2 years, I got 3 years. So the moment that I got my social security number and like my DACA card, allowing me to get a driver's license and a job, because that's the number one, like the two things that I wanted with my little preteen brain. Just like everybody else, I wanted to grow up with the same lifestyle in a way. And so when I got DACA and I was 15, I went for my permit, got my permit right away, and then right at 16 I went for my license. And me and my brother were the first ones in our family to like have a driver's license to have valid driving. And then that's when I started driving my whole family everywhere because it was just safer for me to drive than for my dad to drive. And then when I turned 16 as well, I applied for my very first job like 3 days into me being 16 because that was something else that I wanted to do. um, and my first job was McDonald's, and it was pretty sweet to be able to write like a social security number and be able to answer like the questions with not so much, I guess, a fear factor, like what other immigrant parents or just other immigrants in general face when they're trying to apply for a job. Even if it was just kind of like, I like to call it a level starting like job, McDonald's, it's still kind of nerve wracking to apply for that. But those are the first things that I did, which was something I always dreamed about, and I didn't think I would be able to have had it not been for DACA. Because even in 2005 and like a few years after that, when my parents slowly started telling me like, we're living here, but we don't have like rights in a sense to do the things that we want to do here. So I spent a lot of like my childhood in a set. When we first moved here, we lived with my aunt, and we lived in her basement just because she had some space in there, and I kind of just, I don't want to say hiding, but like we just hid the whole time because it's not the safest thing in the world to be out and about when you're undocumented. Like, you don't want to get caught, or you don't want to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and just get yourself, in trouble, not because you did something, but just because you were existing undocumented. So once I did that, got my license, I was able to travel around the city. I was able to have a job. I was able to hang out with friends more. And like, as you said, in high school, and you saw me in high school working, I'm doing different types of events, and, not being so fearful of existing in the world with DACA.
I could relate so much to that. Like with everything you're saying, it's just so like one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you here because I feel like I could relate to you so much because there's this like fearful factor where like oh I'm documented so I can't do anything, or I won't be able to apply to jobs that are like good or anything, and or even go to college, like even going to like university and stuff. It's just like how am I going to be able to like go to college without like having a job or anything, or having a job where it pays you well and everything. But what it's just one of the questions is like what were like some of the obstacles where you had to like some of the obstacles that you had to overcome to like I don't know where I'm going, but like to like not have that sort of like not fearfulness, but it's just like what were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome throughout your like life or high school or anything with
Yeah.
before getting like DACA or after DACA, or what are still some of the obstacles that you're looking at while having DACA?
I guess before DACA, like the obstacles I had was obviously I couldn't do anything. Like, especially my parents were amazing, like raising me. I still had a really nice childhood, but I guess I kind of just I was raised with a like fear mindset. Like I never got to really venture. I never got to really like explore different types of things that I wanted to do. I spent all my childhood watching TV because my parents still had to go to work because they still had to like financially support us. And my parents couldn't afford daycare, even though I was 5 years old. During the summers when they're working every single day, especially because like the jobs that they've had right now, they have really pretty solid jobs, but it's not what they want to be doing. But when we first got here, they had like I don't know, they had to work a lot in order to stay where they were, and so to not have to spend any money on anything else, I would just spend my whole days watching TV, sitting in the basement with my brother. And we just kind of grew up like that. And so I never really had the opportunity to I always say an obstacle was I never got to like explore confidence in a way. And so once DACA came into my life and my parents are like, okay, you can go out of the house now. We don't have to be so scared of what will happen. They still told me like I had to be good. Like, don't break any laws. Obviously, I would never, but uh, it's just kind of out of the blue. My parents saying like, okay, you can go do something. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm so used to just sitting and just minding my business and like not really existing. And so when we enter high school, all the clubs that we did together, and I could go off on a rant about all that stuff, uh,
Yeah.
a lot to do the things that I did, but I was able to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I was able to like grow the confidence. And with ROTC that we did, because that's where we really connected, I made it to like pretty good pretty good levels, I would say, like with how the whole system works and with other activities too, and like job wise too. I didn't just stay on McDonald's, like I ventured out and about. But I still like, even when I went to college, which was a whole different thing, like a whole different culture shock, because I don't know, growing up I really didn't envision anything for myself. I just saw myself, like just making it and existing, but like not really pushing myself to be out there. And so when it came to, being an independent woman and, turning 18, going to college, starting everything, I didn't know anything. But, I made it. I was able to go to, I'm always proud. And I always tell people, I made it to one of the top private schools and I got a degree in the
Yes. I'm
art.
sorry. Continue.
Even to my older brother, like he had his own obstacles and he didn't get to graduate college. So becoming like the very first one in my entire family to like have a degree in the United States, which is, I guess, a lot of people's American dream. And like I keep it over there in a little shelf over there. So every time I'm like going down the stairs from my room, I just stare at it. And it kind of gives me a little bit of like testosterone of I did that. Like I overcame like my fears and all these different obstacles that, little me would have never seen. And it makes me happy.
Yes, definitely. And like that's why I admire you like so much, because I'm like if you can do it, I'm pretty sure like a lot of people that have like DACA and everything, or and I can do it as well. And it's just it makes me so happy that like we're able to do this and you were able to do that. But at the same time, I feel like there's still like some like things that we can or government or anything can still like implement, especially with how you brought up how we without having DACA we were fearful of like even driving. Like my I still like fear with my mom because she doesn't have like a license or anything. But it's just like her getting like stopped and everything, and I feel like there's still so much that there can be done, and it's just like what do you think is like one of the ways that like not like you but like it's just one of the ways where we can like talk about more of where things have to be like what are the things that have to be done like not done but what would be more to implement more things about like DACA or having DACA and everything. I don't know if that made sense. I'm sorry.
Um, well, when you said that, like I remember it was hang on, sorry.
No, it's okay.
And sorry, there we go. Um, I remember a few years ago, like I think it was when I was 11, so 2010, 2011, my dad did get pulled over and I didn't have a license yet. Nobody in the car had a license. My dad didn't have a license. And it's kind of like he immediately thought like, oh damn, our life is over. Like we're pulled over. They're gonna know that we're undocumented and like everything that we were building our ways towards was gonna go away because and my dad's not a bad person. We're not bad people, but it's so easy to just you hear the stories all the time of people who get deported because of a traffic stop. They didn't do anything like I don't even remember why we pulled over. I think it's because he forgot to put his blinker on when he was going to take a right turn or something. And I guess he just kind of forgot, but that got us pulled over. And it's kind of like, were we really about to lose our livelihood because we forgot to turn on the blinker? I think something that I always think about that should really be implemented. And I don't know if it's still in the process, just kind of like getting licenses, like allowing immigrants to have licenses, especially the ones who've been here for like more than a decade or like, I forgot what it was. I don't remember exactly what it is, but they were talking about it in the news like a few years ago. And you also had like to meet like qualifications, just like with DACA. And I know my dad was super excited because he's like, oh, I've been good. I've never gotten pulled over except that one time. But he's never broken the law. He's never like drunk, driven drunk, or done anything. And so I feel like my parents, well, my dad, because my mom doesn't drive, but like my dad's one of the people who like really benefit from having a license. And I feel like in a way the government would benefit too, because if you can give immigrants and refugees licenses and like allow them to have some freedom on the road to do stuff, and if they were to have an accident or something like that, it wouldn't be so much of a chaos because it gets more complicated if someone's driving without a license. My dad has insurance, but he doesn't have a license. But if he had one, if he were to get pulled over, God forbid, he would be able to provide both of them, and just kind of like in a way give proof that like he's a good guy, he made a mistake, or like this other immigrant is a good person, they made a mistake. But without a license, it's a very restricting. I don't know. It,
Yeah.
I can go different ways with. I just feel like I wish they would commit to allowing like what they came out with a few years ago, allowing immigrants to have license because there's a lot of good drivers out there, and you want everybody to be licensed out on the road, don't you? So I don't get I don't get a lot about the government, but I just don't get why it couldn't have gone like the bill couldn't have passed for immigrants to get their license.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people like don't know like they just take oh like a license is just a license, I have to get it so I can drive. But as being like undocumented or anything, it's just even like how you said a traffic stop, like you never know what's gonna happen. And it's just kind I just feel like it's just really sad because how you said your dad is a good guy. He does what he needs to and everything, and it's just like so sad where it's even a traffic stop can just cause so much fear or just even thinking about like your a job and stuff like checking like papers and everything. It's just referring back to like the last spotlight is like it's just how like Ruben like spotlight is like how they're just meaningless papers. And I
Mhm.
was just saying like yes, this is like why do we need like this so much just so we can prove that we're doing what we're supposed to. We just came here to have a better life, and we just came here to have like how you graduate college or just have like a better of living. And although there's like still so many things to be done, it's just like it's just really sad how we a lot of people don't think about oh it's just like a driver's license, but as we have to think about it, and we have like oh we have to maintain good status, so we have to get our DACA back. Or just one of the questions that I was going to ask is just like we having that fear of like for them to remove DACA, and like what are we gonna do? We're sort of like in a limbo. It's just how do you like feel about that? Like what are like
Um, I'm really scared, like, when Donald Trump traumatized us, like the moment that he was running for presidency and he started threatening like our livelihood, it's kind of like, what did we do to you? Like, why did we come into the conversation type of thing? Like, I'm over here just chilling. Like, before he got into office around, was it 2015, 2016? It was around the time that I first started applying to my first job and started doing all this stuff. And I'm like, why are you already trying to ruin something I haven't experienced yet? Like, I'm not gonna, you know, do it. I don't know. It's just so weird how people correlate and like make it an issue in their life for us trying to live our life. But it's kind of like, I'm not going to see you. Why do you hate me if you don't see me? Like, why don't you want me to have this? And I also like playing into the role of, you and I working, we're also contributing to like the United States. We're contributing to like the taxes, when we look at our pay stubs and they're taking the money out for like social security or for like the federal taxes and all that stuff. It's kind of like, you don't want me to give this money to like you don't want me to pay federal taxes. Like, you don't want me to try and help benefit the United States as well. I feel like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the statistics or just kind of like how much money people like immigrants contribute to the United States. And if you were to take away our jobs or to take away the jobs that we took, um, how much more damaging it would be. I think right now too, because I've been reading the news and going a little sidetrack, it's like the government isn't doing so well right now with money. And there's like a chance that it's going to run out. And it's, if you continue to threaten and take away what we benefit from, that, you know, continuing the limbo the government benefits from, why do you want to threaten it like in the first place? But he was all talk. He never did anything, so that's really good. I'm still living my life. But I feel like if it gets taken away, it's really gonna mess us up because I contribute a good amount of my like our house bill to my dad, because the job that I have pays a little bit more than his job, just because he still can't get the best of jobs ever. So it's kind of like, if you take away my right to work, it's gonna not gonna be fun. I don't know. It's gonna be very depressing. I feel like it's gonna be dark times if it ever did get taken away. So I try not to think about it too much. But I have in the past, especially when the pandemic started, I started thinking about like a different backup plans. Like, my mom got laid off because she worked at a restaurant job and she was, bussing tables because that's the most that she can do with her status. And restaurants closed down and you don't really need bussers when no one's eating inside. So, we lost her chunk of like our finances, and that took like a big toll on our house life. And so I was still going full time, like all 4 years of college. Thankfully, I was able to go full time, but I had to get like overnight jobs. I had to get an afternoon job. I had to, this university would come out with COVID relief plans. But, one of the questions was, are you a US citizen? And I wasn't, but thankfully for the University of St. Thomas, they also came out with a relief plan for immigrants. And so I was able to get like a good amount of money. Now, I don't think as much money as the regular relief fund, but I took any amount that I could take to help keep my family afloat. But thankfully, we're all good now. My mom's back at work, my dad's back at work. I'm working, so we have different backup plans though, in case this ever happens again, like a shutdown.
yes, definitely. And it's just like how I'm saying it's just like how like someone they don't really think about it. It's like, oh, like I can just get unemployment. But as we, as undocumented, like, or as DACA, as anybody that's undocumented, can't get unemployment. Like they don't qualify for it. And even just with that, like with everything, it's just kind of hard getting the resources that we need, especially being undocumented or only having DACA. And I'm really glad now that there's like there were released funds for immigrants and everything, but it's just there's still so much going on, and I feel like how I kept saying like there still could be like so much done. um I need to tag the time, sorry. So one of my other questions, because we're 5 minutes away from the time, is like if you could leave with this conversation with like a message about this topic or about your like personal experience, like what do you want people to know about immigrant and refugee health?
Um, I guess kind of just really. look into things yourself and don't just go off of the media. I know that a lot of the time the media talk is a big thing for everybody because not everybody wants to like, I don't want to say everybody, but there's just a lot of people who just, read one thing on Facebook and roll with it and then they just don't let it go, or like they'll see something else somewhere else or listen to it in the news and then they'll just make that the reality of what the issue is when it's really not the way that somebody else portrayed it because they wanted to, you know, paint the picture how they think it should look like when it's really nothing like that. So I really want to just people to take away of like, actually look into it, like, find somebody who'd be comfortable enough. Like I'm always more than happy to talk about my status and like my experience, just because I want people to know, like, especially like I'm gonna use an example when I'm at work, I'm the next normal person. Sorry, my dad's home. um Anybody who meets me, they don't think about, oh, she's an immigrant, she's undocumented, they just know me as I'm Brenda. I'm either being super awkward or super embarrassing or just confident, just depending on the moment. But then I'll let them know, like, oh yeah, no, I was born in Mexico. This is like, I'll share a little bit of my life story. Obviously I won't give them my whole life story, but they always end up with like, wow, I didn't know that. Especially when I bring up DACA, they're like, what is that? And I'm like, it's been around since 2012, I believe. It's like almost a decade and it's still not really known. But people really like, you see like the twinkle in the eye where it's like, I didn't know this about you. I didn't think about this because, we're just regular people. Like we're really out here just existing. But, I don't know. I think had they met me knowing that I would have been, an immigrant, or, before you even meet somebody, you just read off of their description on paper. You build this whole character and then you meet them in real life and it could be something else. And that's just something that people do all the time. It's like you're already making up excuses, or not excuses, but like assumptions of something when it's really not it because you're just not looking into it. So I just want people to be more willing to widen their horizon and explore things more before they make any assumptions, especially when it comes to immigrants and refugees and just how life works in general. Like, think for yourself. Don't let what other people say, I guess. I don't know, just paint me as a different person because of what somebody said, paint me as me because of how I'm letting you know me. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Brenda, for being in this spotlight with me, and how I'm saying like I asked you to be in this spotlight because I can relate to you so much, and I just wanted for your experience, and like even talking about like and getting like DACA out there, and letting people know what DACA is and especially what it does so much for immigrants. And just thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
So be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Our next spotlight will be this Wednesday, October 6th, for the immigrant and refugee health. Thank you for tuning in.